In the opening tap, we are underway, and something that jumps early, and we'll see throughout the game, Trey, the length of Bradley that really bothered Illinois State in the first matchup.
Yeah, they really have the size of a Power 5 team, so you have to execute, have good spacing on the offensive end if you're Illinois State.
Kinziger kick, Dalton Banks. Defended by Dean, playing catch on the wing, 6 to shoot, probing dribble, kick, wing 3. Off target for Jordan Davis. And now Bradley, which moves the ball so well, Trey, offensively.
Yeah, but Illinois State kind of goes to a 2-3 into a matchup zone where they switch 1 through 4. So look to them in dead ball situations to go to that defense, which has been really effective in their last 2 matchups.
Zeke Montgomery contested 2 untrue. Long Karam out of bounds. And when we spoke with Ryan Peden, he said they made the choice second meeting last year. He said the three-point prowess of Bradley, which is #1 in the country entering this game at 41%, doesn't come from the traditional dump in the post and kick, doesn't come from spacing of 5 out. It instead comes from their system. What does he mean by that?
Well, they just do such a good job of moving without the basketball, and all 5 guys are in unison as they run their offense. There's no selfishness. Everybody knows their roles and where they like their sweet spots.
Kinziger, getting him in the paint was labeled a key for Illinois State. Banks, kick, wide open. Walker for 3, no. That is a wrinkle that we're expecting to see today. Darius Hannah has the major size advantage. Dean slapped at. Big screen. Hannah gets it inside. What a reverse! Ahmed Jonovic showing he has skills in the air up there.
And how about that entry pass to lead him towards the basket? It's good fundamental basketball all around.
Banks. Walker, generally a back-him-up postman. This was a matchup that did not go in his favor against the 7'1" Jonovic. Baseline, Jay, swish. Landon Wolf. And confetti flies, the first made bucket. The students shoot that to the sky.
And Wolf is coming off a great game. 12 points, 5 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3.
Jonovic contested Jay. Walker, good job to box and board. Illinois State 10-4 in this building, but has lost 3 consecutive games. Fell at Indiana State on Saturday last time out. Davis behind the screen, rims out.
Jordan Davis just hasn't been able to get it going. Last 2 games, 1 of 6 from the field.
And Montgomery misses. He's now 4 of his last 16 from 3 himself. What are your keys in this affair?
Well, I think for Bradley, it's all about ball pressure, utilizing your size and athleticism, and then offensive execution with the unique defense that Illinois State plays against them. And then you look at the Redbirds, it's decision-making in the paint, being able to get in there, make the kick out, or take high field goal percentage 2s.
And they are the best 2-point shooting team in the Valley, one of the better teams in the country. But they were horrific shooting 2s in the first matchup with Bradley. Oh, great look. And Walker calmly puts it home.
And it was the look off from Kinziger as he came off that ball screen. He looked to the corner as if he was going to make the weak side pass. That occupied the weak side defense for the flush.
Hannah one-on-one against Walker. Takes him to the rim and lost the handle. Poked out of bounds. 15 to shoot. Demarion Birch comes in, the first off the bench for Bradley.
You see again, it's a 2-man action, and Duke Dean is the one down below. And you see him right there, kind of mad at himself for not staying home at the charge circle on the pick and roll.
Tip ball taken away. Headman. Kinziger right to the rack. Almar Atlason is in. He's in the low post.
They're in it right now, John. It's a 2-3 that goes straight into a matchup man-to-man where they switch pretty much everything.
And this is something Bradley expected, knew would come. How do you counter it?
You still have to execute your man-to-man offense, but you have to be a little bit deceptive. We see Atlason making the defense honest with the left corner three.
He dropped 28 against Belmont earlier in the month. Had 6 made threes off the bench in 27 minutes that game. Thanks. The hesitant three. And tipped and controlled by Bradley. Duke Dean's been a little quiet early. Deep three in transition. Buries it.
Duke Dean, over half of his points come from pull-up jump shots. At pretty much 7 points per game, you cannot allow him to get a rhythm three like that. That's the easiest shot for him.
6-0 spurt. Looking for help. Wolf to Walker. 6 to shoot. Double comes. Reverse. Kinziger. No. Davis tips it to Walker. Good pause. Leans and sinks.
Now it's a good job of Jordan Davis on the weak side. Every time you double team the post, it leaves the defensive team compromised in their defensive rebounding. You can get in there and get your hand on the ball, and that's what Davis did.
Davis end line drive, doubled, smothered, covered, tight shot altered. Kinziger tripped up and a foul. No, the rivalry renewed, intense early, tied. It's party time. The bucket maker making it rain here in Normal. The circumstances, to learn to go through adversity, to not be afraid to fail, and that durability goes a long way. It caught the eye of his head coach, Brian Wardle, who retweeted the article. And when we spoke with him today, he said it's an example for his own children who look up to Darius.
Yeah, you need that in your program. Guys who are just anchors for high-quality people as well as a basketball player. And you look at the improvements that he's made as a basketball player. 18 threes this year. Has really developed himself as an inside-out big.
Kinziger off the fake. Extra pass, 9 to shoot. Kinziger bothered by the length of Atlason. Step back long two is true.
Just so skilled, and even though he's undersized at 5'11", he's able to utilize his speed to show the attack downhill and create space, just like on that pull-up jump shot.
He is top 5 in the country field goal percentage. Men under 6 feet tall. Hannah in and out. Atlason wins it. Montgomery to Dean. Wide open Birch on the right wing. Birch has been an explosive force off the bench, taking the spot once held by Connor Dillon. He's been battling a back issue. 4 to shoot. Atlason goes to the rim. Rejected. And a whistle. Right before the shot clock violation, it was a foul.
It's a good take here from Atlason. Everybody's denied on the wings. That means there's open lane if you're able to attack one-on-one. And about Hannah crashing the offensive glass right at the buzzer there.
Malachi Poindexter, his first foul. Hannah at the line, strokes. 69% this year. 2 years ago, he was a 54% free throw shooter. Last year at 65. Brief breather for Dean. That means time for Jaquan Bully Johnson, 5'11", listed at 195. Now, you've remarked in the past that he almost looks more football player than basketball player with his physique.
Yeah, he easily could be a defensive back or a running back at the D1 level. You look at his physique, but you mentioned Birch. He might have had, I don't know if you saw it, John, the play of the year in the Missouri Valley.
The dunk
against Indiana State. That was incredible.
Left hand flying from about 2/3 up the lane. It was beautiful. Banks, Davis, rise and miss. Hits heel. Corey Thomas getting time off the pine for Bradley. Here's Johnson running the show as Duke Dean gets brief time to rest. Freshman out of Milwaukee. Montgomery. 8 to shoot. 3 to shoot. Johnson gets it off and misses. Kinziger. Wolf in transition, thought about the triple. A touch closer and a miss. Friendly fire. Loose on the deck, out of bounds. Saturday morning, head out to the pitch for a Scottish Professional Football League matchup. Hibernian takes on the league leader Celtic at 7:30 Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network. 10-all, we're approaching the midway point of the first. What's your feel so far, Trey?
Those high emotions, both teams are competing at a high level as we expected here. A lot of times records and standings could be thrown out the window when you have a rivalry match.
Birch for three, got it.
And Birch is shooting a three at nearly 70% now, 14 of 21 from the season. It's a prime example of a guy that doesn't get a ton of opportunity, but when he does, he's ready to deliver.
And look who's standing on the Bradley bench. It is Duke Deen with the towel wrapped around his shoulders. And a whistle.
Birch is just such a good utility player. Feet ready, the help comes from Banks, and Birch knocks it down.
Was a Division III player at Worcester in Ohio. Played for the legendary head coach Steve Moore. They speak regularly. At one point, his coaching path directly overlapped with that of Brian Wardle. Brian Wardle was a longtime assistant to Todd Kowalczyk at Wisconsin Green Bay. When Todd Kowalczyk got the Toledo job, he needed to hire a new assistant because Brian Wardle succeeded him as the head coach at Green Bay. And Peden essentially took Brian Wardle's job following him in that assistant role to start at Toledo.
It's crazy how this college basketball world is so intertwined and entangled, and the overlap. I mean, it's such a small world and a great community.
No, foul before the break went to Demarion Birch, his first. Duke Deen is back in for Bradley along with Hamed Jonovic. Isolated against Walker. Puts it up and in. That's a critical sequence there between two bully bigs.
And talking to Coach Peden before the game, that was a point of emphasis, getting Walker on the perimeter, getting Jonovic outside the three-point line, making him guard from the perimeter.
Screaming for it opposite Davis, lets it fly, miss. Tapped weak side, saved by Deen, but to Illinois State. Deen took out a chair. It's a 5-on-4. Pop a three, make a three. Jack Doherty drills it, the freshman. Three-ball answer. What response from Zeke Montgomery.
Montgomery's just been a consistent force all year long, whether he's shooting a ton or not. 4 of 6 in their last game against Drake.
Screen by Walker. Now Walker outsizing Montgomery. Kick into the opposite corner. Extra pass to Doherty, blocked partially by Hannah.
Good recognition from Hannah, getting over there quickly on the catch. As Doherty was 90% of his shots are threes.
Now it's Doherty who has to defend against Hannah, the freshman against the veteran. Montgomery, extra give. Deen was a deep made three. Hannah spinning end line, and a handsy foul by Doherty. By the way, the foul before break on Birch was his second.
See it again, just good rotation defense, flying around on the defensive end for Bradley. What we've seen so much in these last 3 games in their winning streak. Something that was missing, that defensive energy, effort, and attention to detail in their 3-game losing streak.
You mentioned those 3 straight wins, tied for second in the Valley. Entering this game, Montgomery hang and miss. Tapped out by Jonovic, they maintain. Braves, the preseason favorite for the first time in a quarter century in the Valley. Double Jonovic, 2-hand flush.
It's a great job of Jonovic roaming the baseline there, making himself available as a double team came against Hannah. It's an easy read. Find the big fella for the finish.
Kinziger to Walker, a little 2-man game. Walker facing, shooting, and missing. Deen able to track it down. Yeah, the Braves win against Drake, a big one to draw closer in the standings. Dean, tough shot, hits it, and we'll get a timeout from Illinois State. Now you can feel the little flow here for Bradley. This is the Illinois State men's basketball locker room. Spectacular, right? So there's a shared communal area, hangout lounge. That monitor has the word compete over it. It's where a lot of the players hang out. They play video games together. They spend time together. It's born out of what born Ryan Peden. His head coach at Division III Worcester, Steve Moore, would say it all the time. Compete during games. Part of his legacy over several decades of dominance. And it is the message that he imparts to his players right above their eyes every time they're together. They hang out and they're alive.
Such an important message, especially for young people. I mean, you could throw different strategies and game plans out there, but at the end of the day, it's all about if you had that desire and that fire in your belly to compete at the highest level.
Ty Pence getting some time here out of a timeout. He's perhaps their most athletic player. Lead for Walker, 4 to shoot. Great feed, Kinzinger cuts cup and misses. And that was critical in Bradley's victory in Peoria earlier this season. Oh, Jonovic just carving out space. Walker rarely is outsized to this extent, especially in league play. 3 ball in and out. Walker wins it. Birch is ready to sub back in. Walker puts it on the deck. 7 to shoot. Kinzinger releases and airballs.
The defensive pressure is at another level for this Bradley team as we step away. We have a good one here in Normal, Illinois.
Bradley on a 7-0 run as a 5-point lead. What do you see in their defense?
It's the denial of the wings and making every single catch hard. Look at Duke Dean right here. As you see him, he's going to do a great job of making this catch hard for the guards of Illinois State and Poindexter. And then he comes back again, and he doesn't allow him to make that catch. So the offense for Illinois State is fragmented, and there's really no flow just because of that denial and pressure and the intensity, especially at the guards for Bradley defensively.
Yeah, there have been many close encounters in recent collisions between these rivals. The rivalry is so rooted, they can't even agree how many times they played. One school says it's the 142nd meeting. The other says it's the 140th meeting. Illinois State says it leads 74-67. Bradley says 74-65. They agree that Bradley has won 6 straight in 11-14. If Bradley were to win this game, it would tie the longest stretch of dominance by Bradley all time in a series that goes back over a century. Can they expand upon a 7-0 run? Davis. And a 3-quartered hard by Walker. Birch playing with 2 fouls. Atlason. Hannah releases. In and out. Doherty.
With all the switching defense that Illinois State does, somebody from Bradley offensively has to just try to drive a downhill attack. You're not going to get much off those screening actions on the perimeter.
Now it's Walker against Atlason. May the double come. Dean helps. He fights through. Great leave and a slip back door. Jordan Davis.
And that was a poor job of Atlason. You cannot allow the big fella in Walker to get over his right shoulder, which caused Bradley to double teams. We see Birch miss the layup.
Able to save it from going out of bounds. Davis against Doherty. Birch off the up fake. Defended by Walker, the long 2. Playground move, but it'll be Bradley ball.
Substitution for the Braves, 22, Jaquan Johnson.
See it again. Atlason right here allows Walker to go over his right shoulder. He's a left-handed player. And then that sucks in the defense of Bradley, which allows Walker to make a pass, who's so good at decision-making in the block.
Davis fronted by Doherty. Johnson is back in, replacing Birch. And a travel.
Traveling,
During the month of February, CBS Sports celebrates Black history, recognizing its influence on our culture and society. Now, Chase Walker on the bench for Illinois State. Some rarer time on the floor for Caden Bozer. Fifth-year transfer from both UNKC and Valdosta State, a childhood friend of Dalton Banks. 21 to shoot.
I love the ball pressure. Jaquan Jones there on Kinzinger. Doing a good job of getting to his airspace, making him uncomfortable before he comes off of anything.
Kinzinger fights through. Extra pass, Doherty. Rip it! And one! A chance at a 4-point play!
That's something that Illinois State worked on in shoot-around early this afternoon. Whenever you have a hard hedge on the ball screens, we see it again. You get a quick reversal, and it's Duke Dean who's stuck having to help underneath the basket and then fly out to a shooter. There has to be communication between him and Darius Hannah, especially with Doherty, guy that's a red-eye shooter, made over 200 threes in his high school career.
And foul to Dean, his first. Doherty now has 47 of 8 triples. He already has one of the 8 best three-point make seasons among freshmen in program history. Should he get to 50, he would have matched Dan Muller, the former head coach and star. Now handsy defense as they fed Hannah. He gets hit by Christian Davis, or excuse me, by Jordan Davis.
That was a small thing, John, but Darius Hannah, I like what he did on the 5-out action. He slipped out of his flare screen. Whenever you're going up against switching defense, you want to get a lot of slips and what's called ghost action, where you kind of fly out of your screen before you set it.
We'll see if the Scooby-Doo effect impacts play. Thomas, the lead for Montgomery against Doherty. It's heel board. Thomas. Kick. Dean out of bounds.
And that's so hard to read because Duke Dean came from underneath the basket. His momentum, as quick as he is going straight to that sideline. So it's hard to read where you are on the floor.
This has been a bit of a roller coaster ride. Now it's Bradley without points in 4 minutes. Doherty, stay hot!
Can't do that. He's already hit 2 threes. Zeke Montgomery helps same side corner. That's a no-no against anybody, but especially against Doherty.
Johnson misses. Hannah, perfectly timed. Rise and tap. That snaps an 8-0 run. There is some juice to this game, Trey.
Yes.
Jordan Davis. Poindexter, the bounce to Doherty. Dean all over him. Doherty has the size advantage. He goes to post up. Banks showing shake. Off the up fake. Barely kept the pivot. Doherty again! Oh, in and out.
Banks being the true point guard that he is. He had a wide open layup. He knows his wing has hit 3 threes already in Doherty. Now Doherty takes the charge.
And listen to the reaction of this building.
See it again here. This is a good take here. Maybe a little bit of acting from Doherty. Nonetheless, great job of putting his body on the line and taking the charge.
Yeah, Doherty's scoring had been down. He had been at 3 points or less 6 times in the last 8 games, scoring just over 3 a game. He already has a couple of made threes, and we still have 4.5 to go in the opening stanza. Dalton Banks lost handle, tipped. 12 to shoot, no possession exchange. Bozer, shovel, Poindexter loads, got it!
Poindexter's really picked up his play in Missouri Valley play. 8 points per game, 44% from 3. Doing a good job getting his feet set, coming up to the wing and knocking it down.
This is the largest margin in Illinois State's favor on the game. We'll get a whistle and a timeout on the floor.
And how about the freshman, Jack Doherty?
Coming up, AT&T at the half. We go to our New York studios. Adam Zucker, Wally Zerbiak, Roy Hibbert, and John Rothstein will catch you up on all the latest highlights and more from around the college basketball landscape. And a recap of the first half here at Sefq Arena. All head your way on AT&T at the half. Illinois State protects the ball incredibly well. Tonight, so far, not one giveaway, points off turnovers, plus 11 Redbirds.
And again, it's the defense. It's kind of been the bugaboo for Bradley in terms of that matchup, switching 1 through 5. You know, Bradley does such a good job of moving the basketball, screening, cutting, getting each other open. So a lot of that switching that Illinois State does takes away the ability for Bradley to get shots from moving without the basketball.
Jonovich, after time on the pine, back in. Bradley does have the edge at offensive boards, 8-1. Big reason why it's this close. Jonovich seemed a little in between on that drive. Tipped out of bounds. Ooh. It is Bradley ball. Hannah. Davis. Just seems not quite as fluid, as crisp as Bradley possessions off and on.
One of the issues, and maybe one of the weaknesses of this Bradley team, they don't have a ton of guys that can break you down off the dribble and get to the painted area. Duke Dean, as quick as he is more of a jump shooter.
You mentioned what he can do off the dribble. Doherty a little short, but not in that traditional sense. Kinziger with the ball pinned on his back. And we'll get a jump and give it to Bradley.
Jump ball, Bradley.
Just see how much this game means to both teams. Have one of your best players in Kinziger getting on the ground there. Smallest guy on the floor. Both teams competing at a high level.
Almost looked like a game of Twister gone awry. Right hand red. Double screen for Dean. Montgomery, who's been quiet, size advantage on Kinziger. Probing hand, knocked it free, and he plays it to Doherty.
Oh, man.
And blood coming down the eye. Looks like out of a Rocky movie. Cut me, Mick.
And Coach Pedon, what did he call him? A chip off the old block. Blue collar type of kid. Love to see it.
Well, he'll get some work from their athletic trainer, John Munn, and that shows some of the fire that is this series. There is some concern. They got to stop that bleeding for him to be able to be on the floor.
Correct.
But you certainly love the emotion.
I mean, there's a mismatch, and this is something that Bradley went to a lot in their first matchup and had some success with. And Kinziger, knowing probably again in this matchup, they were going to go right back to that post-up where he's giving up about 5 inches, gets the steal, recognizes that he has the blood coming down his eye, and then he gets the crowd fired up.
Wisconsin's co-Mr. Basketball in 2023, the first Redbird to come to Illinois State as a freshman after earning Mr. Basketball. He shared it with Iowa State's Milan Mocilovic. He is all about this, and it's his swagger that really catches the eye of his coach. You know, we asked, what do you see in Kinziger? And Ryan Pedon said that he's grown beyond his scoring and his distributing, that the leadership was real as a sophomore. The rest of the team, he loves using the word gravity to describe both basketball and people, and there is a gravity about Kinziger.
Yeah, and you look at his background, and, you know, you always can't take you only can take so much from high school stats and your history at that level, but look at his senior year, led his team to a 30-0, won a state championship, averaged about 8 points per game. A season ago was more of a shooter and a scorer, but has really developed, even as a sophomore underclassman, to being the leader of this Redbirds team.
Now they're furiously working on the blood spots on the floor. So Kinzinger has gone back to the locker room. He is down the tunnel. He is not in the bench area as they try to stop that bleeding. But there's also concern with, there was a decent amount of blood that came down. So they have that special cleaning solution, and multiple members of the staff are being pointed to different spots on the floor by both coaches and the officials, and trying to make sure that it's safe for play. Well, the shooting trends, this is where we stand. Bradley just 1 for its last 9. Illinois State has gotten a touch hotter. Bradley has not scored in 2.5 minutes. These are two teams that shoot incredibly well on their respective years, but they know each other well. And you mentioned the showing 2-3 that breaks down into that matchup, switching 1 through 4. Bradley knew it was coming. In fact, that was part of the main mantra delivered by Mike Bargan, former head coach of Butler Community College back in 2007 to 15, who said, they're going to do it, run your man stuff, get the ball popping. When he says that, what does that mean? How do they combat that?
Well, you still, because a lot of times you hesitate a little bit when you see kind of an unfamiliar defense, or at least a defense that you're not as accustomed to. But I think one of the things, talking to Coach Wardle, that they probably haven't done as good of a job of is being deceptive in it. You have to run the same stuff, but you have to do kind of different variations, slip out of ball screens, maybe fake a dribble handoff. A lot of it has been very vanilla in the half-court offense for Bradley, where they're doing exactly what they would do against a man, but you have to do it. You have to have some different variations offensively when they're in that switching defense. Try to draw some confusion and get 2 on the basketball.
Now, this is a pronounced delay, and it's worth waiting and noting that Illinois State had some momentum before this break. At the same time, it may give a sliver of a chance of Kinzinger returning before halftime. It's extra time for them to try to mend him.
Number 3, Dalton Banks.
So Dalton Banks is in, and he brings the ball up the floor. Walker comes to it. Poindexter. Walker got inside position and gets the bucket.
What I love is they brought Chase Walker outside of the paint. So now Jonovic has to move from outside, sprint back inside, and he's not in position to guard Walker in the post.
Wave it off. So Hannah hit.
The Redbird foul is on number 3,
Dalton Banks has his first.
Team 5.
It's a good call.
Davis got a step on Doherty, rattles it in.
The freshman mistake from Doherty. All your help is towards the middle, and Christian Davis being a right-handed player, that's an easy sweep through away from where the help side is, and a good finish.
Wide open, rain it down. Lifetime, he was 1 of 18 from 3 head-to-head against Bradley entering this game.
And they need his scoring. He's a playmaker, guy who averages 9 a game. Over his last 4 games, he's been under 10 points.
Hannah, quick release. Oh, that's a confident stroke.
There's not a lot of guys at 6'9", 6'10", that have that fluid of a jump shot in the Missouri Valley.
Poindexter off the Walker screen. He loses Dean, but Jonovic disrupts. Walker's there! What a pass! And Walker flushes it home!
Looked like Poindexter was in trouble. Got himself in a no man's land underneath the basket. And how about that flip pass? And the big fella in Walker finishing it.
45 seconds. Johnson. Hannah spin the face. Poke free on help. Banks Euro and he's fouled. And Johnson slammed into the basket support.
foul is on 22, Jaquan Johnson.
How about that play from Poindexter? And right there, Darius Hannah needs to attack sooner. He caught the ball, he waited and hesitated, and then the help side was able to come over. And he got the ball pit-pocketed from him. He did a good job of that off-ball action, slipping out of the screen. One of the few guys from Bradley who are slipping out of screens. And I felt like he created an advantage where he caught the ball at the free throw line area, had an isolation. It's a quick sweep through and get to the basket.
Free throw's good. 3.5 second differential. What do you want? Timeout, Bradley. We'll take a 30-second timeout ourselves.
On this one, Darius Hannah does a really good job of slipping out of this screen. He doesn't set the screen for Duke D. Now, look, he catches the ball right here in the middle of the floor at the free throw line. It's a one-on-one. He has the whole left side. You look at all this space right here. There's nobody there. It's a quick sweep through to the right side, but he hesitates, gets his pot picketed, and then it's a foul on the other end.
So now it's out of Bradley's called timeout. About a 3.5 second differential shot to game clock. Zeke Montgomery, who had just subbed in. Hannah. Trouble on the handoff to Dean. Somehow able to maintain. 6 to shoot. Hannah to Dean. 4 to shoot for 3. No. 5 seconds. Thanks. Walker. No. But the largest margin of the game is on the board right now. It's Illinois State leading second place Bradley 35-27.
You got to give Illinois State a ton of credit. Their defensive execution, following the scouting report, making everything perimeter oriented for Bradley.
So the Redbirds with the lead. We'll step aside for now. When you're back, you'll be in New York. Adam Zucker and the gang have AT&T at the half. On the other side, the confetti flies. The Redbirds own the opening half.
Adam Zucker alongside Wally Zerbiak, Roy Hibbert, John Rothstein over there. Redbirds up by 8. They are tired of losing to Bradley, Roy. They've also committed 0 turnovers in this game.
They're looking good right now. I would love to talk about Chase Walker. Everybody here knows I love big men, but I want to talk about Jack Doherty. He's a 6'8" freshman, true freshman, shooting 47% from the three-point line. Only makes 6 points per game, but he's playing big. Look at his three-point shot. He stays ready, locked and loaded in transition. Good screen for him to get open. Ooh, hits that 3 at the foul, and then again, look, you can never help off the same side on the defensive end. You have no help right there, but he's staying locked and loaded. He's looking good right now. Just keep building.
Just keep building. Yeah. Bradley's got to keep Borden because that's been a big advantage for them, 22-11 on the glass. Let's bounce around the country and check out some early.
Thank you for watching AT&T at the half.
Why do 80% of NFL players choose
intensity on both sides? But to me, it's the defensive execution of Illinois State in that switching defense 1 through 4 where they start in the 2-3.
I'll take a look at some of the big moments in the first half. Chase Walker, double-digit points.
Well, one of the keys to this game is what Illinois State was going to do against the length and athleticism of Bradley, especially when they got into the painted area. And they've done a great job of executing, getting high-quality looks once they've gotten in there.
He has a game-high 10 points off turnovers, 15 zip. Illinois State did not turn the ball over once against 10 assists, and yet the lead sits at, yes, a game high, but just 8. Granted that disparity, it feels like the lead should be larger.
Well, one of the reasons it isn't is because of the 23-11 rebound a lead for Bradley thus far, out-rebounding Illinois State by 12, doing a good job of getting some second-chance opportunities, even though they're struggling on the offensive end a little bit.
Well, Brian Wardle's club, 7 road wins on the year, just beat Drake on the road. The Catbirds seat #1 team in the Valley. But this is a rivalry game Illinois State trying to level the season series and look for a signature win. A back down early for Dalton Banks. We have not seen Johnny Kinziger back out yet. He had copious amounts of blood dripping down his face when he left the game later stage of the first half. Davis off the fake, 3 to shoot, pops a 3. Tipped, saved. What an effort, Landon Wolf. Lunging out of bounds, able to play it off the foot. And here comes Kinziger, and the crowd's just realizing it. He just got low fives down the bench, and he is back. Lob entry to Davis, and the whistle.
Good job of Hannah denying the baseline out of bounds play, forcing the catch outwards, and that's why they were able to force the turnover on that possession.
Something might have been awry with Kinziger, because as soon as he got back, he and the trainer raced back down the tunnel. Dean, clean swish. He had just a couple of buckets in the first half. He is Bradley's leading scorer on the year. Kinziger is back. And he's going to the table. He's going to sub in. Get ready for this building that will certainly recognize that moment. Davis, wraparound. Walker could feel the double. Holds the pivot, 6 to shoot. Wolf, tough two. Christian Davis. Hannah was able to draw 5 fouls in the first half. Davis against Davis, no relation. Montgomery pawed at over top of Banks.
That's what Montgomery's so good at, utilizing his size at about 6'5", getting into the painted area. Not the most explosive player with the ball in his hands, but can shoot right over the top of smaller guards.
Walker against Jonovich. He had a hard time doing this the first matchup. And one!
Bobbled the ball a little bit on that one, but still was able to get over his right shoulder, doing a good job of being patient, utilizing his size and body, and taking the contact on. And it's all about the eyes as you're finishing, especially through contact. Did a great job of keeping his eyes on the target, even when he was off balance.
And you could see that raised eyebrow area of Kinziger just got announced. This crowd gave a raucous welcome back.
It appears he got it stitched up a little bit.
Dean. And Kinziger, immediate impact, gets the board. Now drives, kick to Banks. Walker fouled. That's 2 quick whistles on Jonovich.
Illinois State is doing such a great job of working Jonovich. It's inside-out defense where they're making Jonovich guard a ball screen, and then Walker is doing a great job after rolling to the basket, ducking in, making Jonovich have to have multiple efforts on the defensive end.
Now Jonovich out, Atlason in, and he's defending Walker. They give the isolation. They welcome it.
I think Darius Hannah's going to go. Yep.
The double comes, and it's a foul. That'll be Hannah with his second, and now Walker is getting whistles regularly.
That's been a struggle for Bradley all year long. As good as they are defensively, not fouling, and it's going to be big, especially down the stretch, if they pick up early fouls to get Illinois State in the bonus.
Well, Brian Wardle said reaching was the biggest culprit. Deep entry, Jordan Davis. Wolf. And won by Christian Davis. Davis bumping Kinziger. He fouls him. That'll be his first.
second or third time where you've seen a Bradley forward or guard try to beat Illinois State off the bounce. On that one, Kinzinger was caught with his hands in the cookie jar, but they have such a tough time creating separation and getting by their initial defender.
Montgomery forces, somehow threads it to Hannah, who puts it home.
With all the switching that happens, Illinois State is often cross-smash, where you have a guard on a big. Good job there, Bradley, taking advantage, throwing the ball over the top, leading Darius Hannah to the layup.
Banks of the ring. Kinzinger on the bounce to Wolf. Lob into a one-on-three. Walker had no shot. He tumbled down. Dean, Hannah, extra pass. Davis! A little flat. Walker wins it. Chase Walker sets the screen. Now bodies with Atlason in the lane. And a foul. Will step away. Atlason with his first. Walker getting a lot of attention. Chase Walker. Brian Wardle beckoned over Brett Smith, our lead official, along with Ed Crenshaw, and they're looking at this to see if there was excessive contact to the head or neck area. What are you seeing?
Personally, I love physicality. I felt like Chase Walker simply was just trying to fight for position. Seemed like it was a little bit more of the forearm versus the actual elbow that maybe caught the face of Atlason.
So they converge and talk it over. Now the call on the floor was a common foul on Atlason. But they were reviewing the contact of Walker against Atlason and trying to create that space. And we'll get word from Ed Crenshaw here.
On a common foul, what we had on the floor, Bradley will be charged with a 30-second timeout for the review.
So just the common foul as called that goes against Atlason, and Bradley loses a timeout because Brian Wardle had asked for that monitor review, and they did not find head or neck area excessive contact. So Illinois State with the trigger. And what attention that Walker has won of late. He is on the bench now. Some time to catch a little bit of rest. 3-ball up top. Hits heel, and Davis wins it for Bradley. Montgomery driving on Wolf, tripped up.
And John, I think that's what they need more of. You have to keep the defense honest. There needs to be more catch and go, where maybe you break a set offensively off of the initial handoff and you attack downhill. Bradley's so unselfish. They do such a great job executing, but sometimes you can be a prisoner of over-execution, and sometimes you have to keep the defense honest by dribble penetrating to the basket, breaking a play.
Christian Davis, entry to Thomas. Atlason. Zeke Montgomery probing again. Puts it in. That's exactly what you're saying.
That wasn't a set play. That was Zeke Montgomery getting the ball and saying, you know what, I'm better than you, and I'm going to get to my spot, and I'm going to finish right over the top of you.
Illinois State's lead ballooned as large as 9. Kinzinger on high. Saved by Wolf. Kinzinger just inside of midcourt. Opposite Davis. Atlason boxed out, but they couldn't corral it.
One thing I'm considering, if I'm Bradley, if Davis is in the game, if Banks is in the game, I might consider giving those guys dare shots. They have not proved you can provide more help on Kinzinger and then Walker when he gets back into the game, his post-ups.
Kinzinger, Doherty's back in, 3-ball from Wolf. No, back tap foul. No, Bozer's got his second. And this game feels about as jagged as it had since its start. Dean. And It's getting aggressive in the post, and you can see the clapping from Corey Thomas, who drew the foul there from Wolf.
John, we might have ourselves a free throw shooting competition the last 5 or 6 minutes of this one. Both teams in the bonus.
Entry, Allison dunk.
That was what was missing in the first half. Screens and slipping through it. How about this? The two little guys showing each other a little bit, showing each other up.
6-0 Bradley run to make it a one-possession game. Banks, 9 to shoot for Wolf. 5 to shoot, Bozer. Contested, fall away, no. Dean flicks to Montgomery. Playing with confidence. Going at Bozer. Just short, Bozer rips it down. Chin and spin and a foul. And a technical foul. But Bradley politicking for a jump.
Good take here by Montgomery. It's a high percentage look. He's going to make that more than he misses. But then Montgomery trying to get that ball back. Thomas accompanying him with that. And it was a Bozer with the extracurriculars. Have to keep your emotions in check in these high-intensity games.
Well, it looks like we have a common foul on Montgomery as his first. Now they're going to the monitor. You would assume that technical was called on Bozer?
Yeah, because what I saw was Dalton Banks come over to him and get really frustrated. And so I think Banks knew that the technical was called on Bozer.
This is the second time that they've gone to the monitors recently. This is what can be reviewed. It could be confirming exactly who did what there. As the emotion of the game has been fairly high all game, but it feels like it's intensified these last few possessions. Bozer trying to chin and spin. Something just said there that took it to another level. Now it looks like Birch is going to sub in for Bradley. Now Brett Smith is calling the rest of the crew back over to the monitor again. Brett Smith on the right, Ed Crenshaw on the right, on the left rather. Randy Heimerman in the middle, part of our veteran Missouri Valley crew. I'm with you, Trey. I love the fire and physicality of college basketball. You don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't do anything egregious, but playing hard. And so I'm curious what they're looking at on the monitor, because I didn't see anything there that looked like a technical foul. It looks like double.
Foul against Bradley, number 3. We won this way, and then we had a technical on 3 and 33. Double technical fouls, not sportsmanlike. Y'all send each other.
So kind thanks. This crew has been excellent, and Ed Crenshaw informing us. So there was the common foul at first against Montgomery. That was called to the floor. And then double technicals to both Montgomery and Bozer. So it will be Illinois State ball after the foul on Montgomery. So Montgomery's now got 2 fouls in that one sequence end on the game.
I am not sure where Zeke Montgomery had extracurricular added actions.
Unless something was said that we can't.
Yeah, maybe under his breath or. Nonetheless, the officials have done a good job of kind of taking control of this game, understanding that this is a rivalry match.
Hannah ready to sub in for Bradley. Doherty had subbed in earlier. Walker is back. Inline drive. Wolf floats it up. Wolf follows his miss. And Birch wins it. Dean feeds Thomas. Allison right back up. And short, Kinzinger wins it. And Dean fell down. Numbers briefly for Illinois State. Doherty shaping up on the wing. And the lob to Walker and a foul. That's Christian Davis with his first. It seems like every defender is having a hard time handling Walker.
It seems like every defender is having a hard time on both ends not fouling. You see Walker right here. He sets the pick and then moves and gets to his post up. Good call by the official. Just a good job of Walker initiating that contact. A lot of times he catches the second guy. Well, that one was Christian Thomas.
It is bonus time. He misses the front end. Now, Walker lives at the line. He is second in the Valley in takes and makes at the free throw line. He draws almost 8 fouls every 40 minutes. That's the 5th highest rate of being fouled in college basketball. And it has spiked lately in this game. Dean taken away by Kinzinger. Oh, brilliant anticipation.
He's not making shots right now, but Kinzinger's toughness, especially on the defensive floor, has been a difference maker.
Doherty, write it down. He's got 4 threes. Tipped. Banks rips it away. Seen, and he is forever honored in this building where he wore that uni.
And as great as a career he had, pretty much in every facet of the game, as a player, as a coach, as a broadcaster, even better person. Obviously, I played for his son, Chris Collins, at Northwestern, and he was there in the beginning years of the Chris Collins era at Northwestern. Almost every day, we used to, like kindergartners, John, just sit around while Papa Doug told stories about Michael Jordan and his playing days and broadcasting days. Learned so much from him in my time at Northwestern.
This is out of a Bradley called timeout. Next dead ball means another media. Bradley is also down to 1 timeout in regulation. Hannah. Fouled. That'll be 3 on Wolf. We'll step away.
A shift in momentum. Happens all the time in basketball, especially the collegiate level.
Jonovich.
Flip.
Hannah. Easy 2.
Defensively, when you've switched all game, you're prone to be a little bit lazy on that one. They did not come together, get in front, ball you man, and Darius Hannah had a wide open dunk.
Banks kick, Kinzinger release, rejected partially by Hannah, won by Birch. Hannah was asking for it up the floor. Kinzinger tries to get big and deny. He's outsized. Hannah driving inline, help from Walker, triple team, covered, smothered, and a foul. And it looks like they'll get Banks here with his second.
And again, I'll mention, I really like, especially this rivalry game, it's so physical, how the referees have really taken control. Because you never want to see anything dirty, and as a player, Now remember, rivalry games, sometimes the emotions get the best of you. You never know when you get into those circumstances between those lines. The referees have done an amazing job taking control of this game.
On the bonus, the miss, but it pinballs to Johnson. Bradley maintains. Shovel to Birch. Oh, Jonovich was able to carve out the space, and he banks it home.
A great job of Birch, not just being a bystander. As the dribble penetration happens, he cuts from the wing, is able to kind of get a little pitch back, and finishes with his left.
Walker, great feed to Banks, rejected by Hanna. Now Hanna, transition triple. And Birch pushed off to get to the loose ball. That's going to be his third.
This was a great cut from Banks, but you have to understand that Darius Hanna is one of the best shot blockers in the league. To come with some sort of change of pace, deception as you come in there, maybe utilize the other side of the basket. Finish like that, it's going to get blocked almost every time against a guy like Darius Hanna.
Well, something you called early. You said this could have become a foul shooting competition. Here we are. We're not at the midway point of the second half. It is bonus.
Yes. And it sends a message to the players. Play hard, compete, but you have to play without fouling.
Now, these are two of the better free throw shooting teams in the Valley. Both stand top 4 in the league. Illinois State is at 4th. Bradley, the second best in the circuit, bested only by Valpo. Banks hits them both, and he'll sub out. Malachi Poindexter back in. So it's Johnson running point, not Dean. And Dean to the table. Hanna, Walker giving help. Reverse, tough angle miss. And Kinzinger boxed out Jonovich.
Not a lot of 5'11" guys that can do that. Kids at home, if you want to be a player, if you're undersized, you can do that, but you have to do it on the other end as well.
A 5'11" guard boxed out a 7'1" center and then drilled a 3 at the other end. Birch falling away. Tough shot.
Those drives has been what's there all game long. And Bradley desperately down the stretch needs guys to be able to play make, be able to break a play.
Kinzinger, wraparound. Jordan Davis snaps to Poindexter. Daugherty, 5 threes. Banker. Daugherty now with 50 made triples on the year. He has matched Illinois State legend, former head coach Dan Muller, for 4th most by a freshman in a season. And he has tied his own mark for the most in a game against an NCAA Division I foe. Gets fed down the lane. Draws the foul.
Because he has 5 threes, it's a great read by Daugherty. Marion Birch has to trail. He cannot go underneath the handoff. As you see it again, he goes over the top, continues his cut around Walker, and Walker is good of a passer as you'll see, and then he just has such a quick release, John. Doesn't need that much airspace, and the fact that he's 6'8" too, so if you, as a defender, most of the time there's going to be guys that are 6'4", 6'5" covering. If you are a half a step late, he's going to get that jump shot off, and tonight it's been money.
Foul went to Hanna, his 3rd. There was a line change for Bradley. 4 fresh players into the fray. Daugherty hits them both. The freshman, Jack Daugherty, with 17 points to lead the game. It's double digits for the first time. Daugherty wins the air ball. Bradley only has 1 timeout. Kinzinger fouled. Montgomery with his second, or excuse me. Montgomery with his third.
Montgomery's doing such a good job on the ball, making it hard, but he just puts his two hands on him. That's a bad habit that a lot of guys have, and a lot of it comes from practice. You know, where there's not as much fouls being called or pickup over the summer. A lot of times you tend to do those things, and then in these late game situations where the referees are really trying to control it, it comes back to bite you.
Tough shot for Dean. Followed tip. And a whistle.
And I'll say this, John, Coach Wardle has done the absolute 100% right thing in simplifying the offense in terms of just running a high ball screen, letting his playmakers go to work. And that's the trust that he has in his guys, but you have to be able to convert. It's a tough shot from Duke Dean. Going to his right, having to spin back and shoot against the outstretched arms of a defender.
Foul to Christian Davis, his second. Daugherty, 18 points. His young career high against a Division I foe.
His last game against Bradley only had 3 points. 1 of 3 from 3. The last game against Indiana State, only 3 points. Really stepped up here tonight at Normal.
Bradley in dire need of buckets. Hannah, Montgomery, backdoor, Banker, good and one. That'll be Daugherty's second. Free throw on the other side. The Redbirds have brought it. Can the Braves respond? Or with the Geico play of the game. What do you see, Trey?
Just a guy who wants it. This is what your leader does. The smallest guy in Kinziger boxing out the biggest guy in Jonovich. And then he gets rewarded on the other end. A little miscommunication. The ball screen coverage from Bradley, and Kinziger makes him pay.
It is a bloody night for Kinziger. Got stitched up. Came out to a raucous ovation when he entered a few minutes into the second half. And his numbers go beyond the box score. It's something that was shared with us by Ryan Peden, the third-year head coach, in advance of the game. And it's something that you've witnessed on the floor here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him, he's small, 5'11". You know, his whole career, he's probably had to play with a chip on his shoulder, with opposing teams doubting him. And these rivalry games, having a guy like that is so beneficial.
First Bradley pressure. Illinois State broke it fairly easily. And a different defense here?
Yeah, 1-3 going. We've seen Bradley go to this before.
Illinois State recognizes high post. Bozer kick to Banks, 6 to shoot. Banks, 3 to shoot. A prayer shot. Caught underneath and put home. Jordan Davis. Wow. That was a miracle make. Dean on high. Partially rejected. Kinziger's got it.
On that one, Kinziger provided the ball pressure against Duke Dean and went underneath the screen.
Kinziger, no. Zeke Montgomery slices, dices, foul on the floor, but it is bonus. That'll be Daugherty with his third.
How about this play? The awareness, Jordan Davis, and how about that finish? Almost an alley-oop of sorts. Catching that ball, putting a little English on there. Being able to make something out of nothing.
So here's the last of the 1-and-1 free throws, because it will be double bonus both teams rest of the way. Birch is back in, Davis out. And Montgomery hits the first. He has been the fuel for Bradley's meager offense of late to try to stay in this.
Yeah, he's one of the few guys that has the capability to be able to break a play one-on-one basketball. And that's what Bradley's just struggled with, is you've got to have guys that can put two on the ball and get into the painted area so that you can have advantages and rotations.
Well, part of the lead for Illinois State, +7 in points at the line right now. Kinzinger wide open, hesitant three. Here comes Bradley. Dean snaps it ahead of Montgomery. Ryan Peden clapping ferociously, telling his team to defend. Hannah hesitates. Spinning on Walker. Baker and one. And he says, let's go, slapping his chest.
I feel like a broken record, John, but again, that's not a set play. That's a catch and being ready to attack a closeout and drive the basketball and finish strong. Seen this Bradley team, they're so good at moving the basketball and getting quick hitters and getting open looks through their plays. You got to have guys in these situations, and the game is physical, that can just go make a play.
Hannah has 13 to lead Bradley. Illinois State has not shot very well since the break and still has a 10-point lead. Kinzinger, good up fake, got Atlason to bounce into him. On the floor, not in the act of a shot, so it's not three. That'll be 2 fouls on Atlason.
It's still free throws for Kinzinger, and he's so good at seeking out contact. His basketball IQ for a sophomore is through the roof. Watching film on him, he does such a good job, even with his small frame, drawing contact. He understands when teams are in the bonus. He's able to give his team some free points. Such a good basketball player. And for kids at home that are watching this, don't pay attention to his scoring, his shooting ability. Pay attention to his intangibles.
That said, he is the second best free throw shooter in the Valley, just under 90%, and he helped salt the lead back to a dozen. Now they're rolling entry to try to conserve some time. It's a gaudy deficit, but Bradley has bounced back a lot. Has rallied from down 8 with under 2 to go in 3 different games to at least tie. Dean for 3. And remember, Bradley is the best outside shooting team in college basketball. That is the equalizer. Doherty. Kinzinger feeds Walker. Doherty. Unconscious.
There's a short roll situation. That's the one where you got to stay home. If Chase Walker scores off of that, so be it.
Dean snaps Klein. From a free throw contest to a three-point contest. 2 of the top 10 outside shooting teams in Division I. Doherty trying to stay hot. Kinzinger picks it up. Walker, great feed to Kinzinger. 4 seconds. Banks has to heave. Tap by Jonovic. They go 2 bigs with Atlason bringing it up. Shovel to Dean. Transition triple. Yes! Duke Dean getting hot. And Dean giving it to the fans, sticking his tongue out. It's down to 6 with 4.5 to go.
When Doherty's already hit 5 threes, Zeke Montgomery is playing technically the correct defense, but if you freeze it right here, you see him in the gap. He has to stay home with Doherty. He has to stay back out to the shooter. As we replayed it through, now he's late, and Doherty, it's money from the wing. Technically, John, that's the right defense. He's in the help side, helping against the roll. But when you have a guy that's made 5 threes on the game, you have to stay home. It can't be your help.
Yeah, oddly enough, Ryan Peden said he often sees the same troubles defending Bradley, that they move you around so much, they get you in rotations, and then you're late.
And you're late because guys can shoot it. If you're late and guys can't shoot it, then you're not really late.
Well, here is that zone look again from Bradley. Doherty. Zone buster! What a breakout night! He has drilled 7 threes! He hit 5 in his debut. He had a wild day against a non-NCAA, non-Division I team. This is different. Birch responds.
What a basketball game. High-level defense, shot making on both ends here. What a game.
Who can get stops? Walker screen. Jordan Davis into the corner. Kinzinger, quick load. Got it! It is raining triples. Timeout, Bradley. The final timeout for the Braves. After a stretch of jagged uncertainty offensively, both teams are drilling threes left and right.
And it's Demarion Birch who falls asleep. He did such a good job on the initial ball screen, and he just completely fell asleep. In this high level of a game, at this level, you have to stay home on the other team's best players.
Bradley has hit its last 5 from the field. There's little margin for error, down as many as 14. Hannah off a great no-look from Dean. Think he got hit there too?
Absolutely. Walker had his hands completely in the cookie jar. There was contact.
It's been double bonus on both sides for some time. This was a foul fest at one point. It's been a lot cleaner of late. And there's a whistle. Kinzinger bumped. And it looks like this will be Hannah with his 4th.
It's a good job of Duke Dean getting downhill, putting the defender in jail. Now you have a 2-on-1 situation. Walker definitely had his hands in the cookie jar. Probably should have been an and 1. But then on the other hand, Kinzinger just so good at finding bodies, especially off the ball, and drawing contact and selling it.
And he is the guy that Bradley can't foul. He's an 89% free throw shooter, 2nd best in the conference.
And John, I'd be willing to bet that he's probably been doing that since his middle school AAU days, where a team is in the bonus. I don't know if the foul counts in middle school AAU basketball, but but he probably has done that his whole career, where he's drawn out contact. It's 2 free points.
So he's able to pad the lead a little more. Ryan Wardle's team entered sharing 2nd place in the Valley, winning 3 straight, including a win at 1st place Drake last time out. But their longtime rival giving them everything they can handle tonight. Hannah on high. Hits heel. Kinzinger's got it. And they can milk some clock now.
Yep. And look for him when he attacks to flop a little bit. Try to draw a foul.
7 to shoot. He drives. Whistle. And it'll be 2 shots. We got that shot clock down to 4 seconds there. 1:56 to go. Foul to Montgomery, his 4th.
For Bradley, that's the worst possible outcome. Because even on a make, you could at least get out the ball quickly and try to get a 3 on the other end. But now The ball stops. Illinois State, assuming that Kinziger makes this next free throw, and they get to set their defense.
It's heel. Doherty's got it. Up fake, fouled. This young man is having the game of his life.
How about this against a fifth-year senior? Getting the rebound. Wanting it more than Darius Hannah. What a game.
Now Hannah has fouled out, so this acts as a de facto timeout. They don't have timeouts, but they can huddle and talk a bit here. And it looks like they're going to go with a second point guard, and Jaquan Bully Johnson, who is a shooter at nearly 40% on the year. But Bradley gets noticeably smaller. That gaudy size advantage that they hold most of the time. Atkelson is the big, and he's not a traditional big, even though he has that size. So Doherty to shoot 2. Already has a game-high 25. By far the highest of his young career against Division I competition.
The big picture for Illinois State their last 2 games defensively gave up 84.5 points per game. Teams are shooting 48% from 3. You see the second miss. How about the toughness, physicality, and response from this Redbirds team?
Dean to Atkelson, who is a shooter. They need quick shots. Montgomery driving, fouled by Wolf. That'll be 2 shots. So Wolf is 4, and that's the other recipe. You can freeze the clock. It's double bonus in Bradley's favor, too.
This gives you time now to set up full court pressure if you're Bradley, whether it's a zone look, man-to-man run and jump.
Part of the issue, though, Illinois State protects the ball incredibly well on the year. Something that Ryan Peden's teams do brilliantly well. They've only given it away 3 times tonight. Points off turnovers are 20-2 in Illinois State's favor. So here's the pressure.
The 1-2-2 look.
Kinziger, the guy you can't foul. Davis got headbutted by Johnson. He's slow to get up. Montgomery for 3, got it. Davis is checking his face for blood. That was a head-on-head collision. Up the floor, Doherty. That's a guy you do want to foul. Extra pass, layup. One minute.
Duke Dean and Christian Davis were both guarding the middle. One of those guys had to be back.
Davis missed. Doherty, box and board. Foul him, right? Yeah. You can't turn him over. He's the guy you want to foul. He just missed 2. And instead, they let more time tick. And now Dalton Banks, who's a nearly 70% shooter and goes to the line a lot more, will head to the strike. And the foul to Montgomery. He is fouled out. So Montgomery and Hannah both lost for the game. Birch comes back in. And while Doherty is a great 3-point shooter, he had 4 career collegiate free throw attempts in this game, missing 2 of the 4.
It's just unfortunate because after the Montgomery 3, all the pressure was on the Redbirds, and you had 2 guys covering 1, which can't happen off the ball in a full court press.
Johnson driving on Kinziger. Gets fouled. And it'll be 2 on Johnny Kinziger.
The athletic training staff is going to have their work cut out for him after this game.
A lot of tape and ice. This is a black and blue kind of game. And Ryan Peden had not bested Brian Wardle in this head-to-head. Winless against Bradley in 5 matchups. He is 38.7 seconds away from getting that first victory. Johnson misses. Jordan Davis, the fifth-year man, subs out. Poindexter comes in, a career 86% free throw shooter. It's at 7. To Wolf. Poindexter right down the middle, able to back it out. Now they got a foul, an 86% lifetime free throw shooter.
And a fifth-year senior who's been in these moments before.
Dean, his second. Yeah, he certainly does have that experience. For those of you tuning in for New Mexico, Boise State, you can find it online, cbssports.com/CBSSN. As soon as it tips off, of course, we'll get you out there immediately after the conclusion of this game. Well, Poindexter out after doing his job. Jordan Davis back in. Dean for three. No. Kinzinger. Timer off. Foul on Johnson. That'll be his second.
At the line, shooting 2, Johnny Kinzinger.
On the horizon, Bradley's going to have 2 of 3 at home. Well, Murray State Saturday, at Valpo next week. They'll close on Sunday, March the 2nd against UNI. Illinois State will have 2 of 3 on the road. They're at Missouri State Saturday, at Southern Illinois on the 25th, and they'll close at home against Evansville. The Purple Aces got a road win against Indiana State today. Dean contested 3, no. 15 seconds. And it's Kinzinger who tells the crowd to get loud. The losing streak halted at 6. The first win in 3 years for Illinois State over Bradley, 82-71. So Bradley falls as UNI rallied and now owns second place outright, while Illinois State even in that 4-way tie. For Trey Demps and our entire crew, I'm John Sadak. Final score, 82-71, Illinois State. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. So long from Normal, Illinois. It's to New Mexico, Boise State, Rich Waltz, Dan Dickow, Emily Proud, after this brief commercial message.
When you're the official